Hello and welcome to another edition of Crafting with Mermaid Tears. Today we are going to be making cute little clam-shaped mirrors. So what I have here is a package of shells that came from the dollar store in a package like this. Sorry the sun is so bright today, that's going to make it a little bit more interesting. And then some mirrors that I grabbed at the dollar store. And I'm also going to be using some embossing powder that I got from Emerald Creek, some embossing dabber, and of course my pieces of glue and my glue gun. So the first thing that I am going to do is actually going to apply my embossing powder. And so what I'm going to do is take my little dauber and I'm going to daub around this whole shell shape here. You don't want to squeeze the bottle because if you squeeze you risk popping this off. You just want to literally press down and dab. And then I'm going to take my embossing powder, and because I have another piece of paper underneath, I'm not going to worry that much about how much of it I use, and I'm going to just dump it all over my clamshell. And now before my next step, I'm going to just pick up my paper, fold it in half, and dump it nicely back into my little bottle. So now with my clamshell all covered with the embossing powder, I'm going to use my heating tool, and what's going to happen is it's going to take it from this very sandy, grainy look to a nicer, smoother appearance. So you can see now that it's no longer a sandy, grainy look, but actually more smooth and reflective. And that's what the heat embossing did. Because I used the char gold, it also still has a little bit of the raised elements, which is what I liked about it. And it gives it kind of a little bit of a sea feeling to it. So with that done now, I'm going to decide if I want to do anything along my edges or if I just want to leave them as they are. Originally I thought I might just leave them as they are. But I think what I might do closer to when I'm done is actually frame them with some glitter. So I'll just put that aside. So now I'm going to flip my piece over because I'm going to come back and use this after. And I'm going to start to do my pieces of glue just around the shell. If I can find pieces that are rounded at all, I'm going to try and use those for the outer areas just so I can keep a little bit of that scalloped clam shape available there. So I'm just going to take my glue. I have it on low because I don't want to burn myself. You can certainly use it on high, or I also recommend that you use some goop if you have goop available to you. It is another glue that works really, really well. See, I've got just the frame part done, and when you turn it around it doesn't really show in very many places. It kind of stands out a little bit, but you're not ever going to be able to find ones that are perfectly round like that. So now that I have the outside done, I'm going to just puzzle piece the rest of the pieces in. You can certainly try to dry fit them first and then pick them up and glue them as you go, which is one way of doing it, or you can just kind of glue and hope that they all eventually fit. So it is up to you completely. I'm going to just glue and hope that they all fit. So now I have it all filled, but there are still some spots where I didn't find little pieces to go in there. So what I could do is I could take that and I could fill it with other color pieces, but I am actually going to leave mine for right now. So I'm just pulling off my extra glue, as I do in most of my videos here, because I like to get glue everywhere. Because I don't want to leave this side like that, I am going to take my glitter here, and I'm just using a gold glitter from close to my heart, and I'm just going to trace right along the whole edge here nice and smoothly. So the edge is done, so I'm going to put this aside, and while I was doing that I actually thought it might be pretty to maybe fill some of my holes with the blue. Now I'm just going to take my Stickles, which is just another glitter brand, and I'm going to just squeeze that into the holy spots. So that one I'm just going to put aside to let it dry. And while I'm doing that, I will show you how I finished this one here. I just left the edges open, And then around the frame, I put these shells on the front. So when this is done drying, we will flip it over and decorate the front of the frame. So now that the glitter has dried on our shell top here, what we're going to do is just flip it over and take our mirror and figure out where approximately the center is, and we are going to glue our mirror down in place now. And so what I need to decide next is how I'm going to decorate this outside part, or if I am going to decorate it at all. So what I've done with this one is applied the little shell, and then I put some of the matching glitter from the back just around the mirror, and that helps to hide the border of the mirror and also of course to bring the color from the back to the front. I had thought about doing some shells around it, but then decided that I really liked that embossing look of and feel of it. As always, I enjoyed crafting, and I hope that you enjoyed it as well and maybe learnt a few techniques. I look forward to seeing photos of your stuff or to receiving any questions, comments, or feedback. You can provide that below, or you can provide it on my website, which is www.mermaidtears.ca. And I hope that you are having yourself an absolutely fabulous day.